Derrick, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I'm,
Good to be here.
I'm glad you made it, man. Finally, we can do this.
Yep. It's about time.
Yeah, sure, man. So how are you? How have you been?
Man, I'm good. First of all, I want to say a very big thank you to you for having me here, and also warm greetings to all your audience, those who listen and those who watch as well. I'm a fan. Yeah, it feels good to be.
Man, you don't know how much I've been really planning to have you on the podcast, and I'm glad that we're finally doing this.
Yeah.
We are privileged to actually host Derrick because he's currently in Kigali, Rwanda. Yeah, obviously by the time you're listening to this or watching this, he had already left. Yeah, he'd be out of the country, right? But yeah, we had to connect with Derrick and of course share actually his story with you all and like one or two things. So Derrick, man, tell us a little bit about yourself now. Like now, people are curious. Who is this handsome guy there? Yeah, a little bit of like an intro about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm from Ghana originally. Yeah, where we make the best jollof rice. Hands
This
down.
is gonna cause boy.
Hands down. Where we make the best jollof.
All right.
Yes, I'm originally from Ghana. I was born and raised in Ghana. I lived in Accra, and back in Ghana, I studied so I'll take it from my bachelor's, right? So I did my bachelor's in Ghana in banking and finance, and before then I did a diploma in business studies, and then that was where I started picking up there. I had this thing to want to do something, right? Something with my life and stuff. Obviously, I was not from a very rich background or very privileged background.
Yeah.
Very normal family. We're trying to make things work and stuff. So I had to work. I wanted to work in the bank. It was my dream job. And then I did my diploma. And then after I was done with the diploma, then I applied for a bank teller job. So I got a job when I was around 19, 20.
Wow.
On my first bank teller job, I was a bulk teller. So I was counting like huge sums of money. I was processing huge sums of checks and stuff. But I was getting paid very little, very little, very little, like peanuts, literally. And but I loved my job. So when I got into the banking job, luckily before I did the move into the bank, I also wanted to do my degree in banking and finance. So then I applied for the evening school to study in the evening while I work during the day because I had to support myself. My dad, an incredible father, he did his best. I mean, he was paying for my tuition, but I also had to help myself, with my books and some shoe stuff because it wasn't so easy at the time. So so I started from there, and then I loved the bank job. I did one bank, and then after a year I moved to another bank, and then something happened from there that I lost my job. Like I was unfairly fired, and then I lost my job. So in the process of building myself up again, I remember that I said a prayer. I mean, for those who believe in God, I was broken and stuff, and then I remember this one time I woke up, I was like, you know what? Like, I have to really get out of this pity party and do something with my life because I'm not the first person to have got fired or lost their jobs.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember I said a prayer to God and I was like, God, I'm broken right now. I'm down right now. But if there's any great thing you're going to do in my generation, please don't do it without me. Now, I want to be part of it. And I picked up the pieces from there because back in the bank, when I was working in the bank, I was saving a lot, and not just saving, but I was investing my little salary. I wrote a check every month that I was using to buy like stocks in one of the banks, and also a mutual fund.
You became a stock buyer.
Yeah, I was buying stocks.
At what age was that?
This was say 20 years when I was 20. Wow. Yeah, so I was reading a lot of things on the internet about what to do with the money because if I will say this now, my first salary was 327 cedis, 21 pesos. I remember it so well. And if you bring it into euro right now, that is like around 30 euros.
Wow.
Yeah, and every month I bought stocks of 110 cedis. So I wrote the checks already. They were like pre-written checks, and then I was buying them. And then also part of the money into mutual fund. I was also getting like tips from customers. Yeah. So that's what I was using to, take care of myself sometimes, give some money to my mom and all of those stuff. Yeah. So I feel like life tested me from that point, or I was being molded to know what to do with the little that I had, right? So from there, I moved to another bank. Now the salary increased to 550 cedis. Yes, so which is also around let's say 50 euro, right? Yeah, and then I felt so happy at the time, right? I was like, hey, this is good, and this was my dream job. I loved the job, right? And so when I got out of it, I had to pick the pieces that were left. So one of them was like, I had investment experience.
Yeah.
So I wanted to help people, like young people like myself. So I remember that time I had my Facebook and stuff. I would write on my page. People were not reacting at all. Long captions, like, you know, like what to do with your money, and all of that. And then I got one or two people who showed interest. But the question is, I didn't know how to monetize it, right? So I was just like helping them with the investment that I did.
Yeah.
So taking them to the bank, you know, to say, okay, hey, this is what I did. I brought a customer, right? So that kind of stuff. And then out of it, one person comes back and says, oh, I know an artist who is looking for a finance manager, right? So fast forward, I applied for it, and then I got to work with this artist. And then now the artist was one popular artist, but she wanted to start her own record label, and then she needed a business plan. And then she told me about it. She was like, I can do it. I can try. And then I did the business plan. It was horrible. It was good. It was good at the time, right? But then for me, if I look back now, the kind of business plans that I developed, that was bad. That was like a bucket list.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it?
I wouldn't do that business. Like it was good at the time, like I said, you know. And for me, it taught me the big lesson. And I hope one of the lessons that people should pick is start from where you are with what you have. Really, it really starts with just a step. And in the course of our conversation, I'll delve into the crazy things I did for my business, or like to evolve. Yeah. Right. And one of it was just to be bold, to say, hey, I'm starting this thing. I was younger at the time. Yeah. Obviously, to be a consultant, people think you have to be older and stuff. But this was me, a young guy. I didn't look like someone who had it all together, obviously, right? But I don't know what pushed me to like have the balls to say, I can do this. And I tried to do it. I learned myself, you know, I learned the skills myself. I Googled. There are times that I'll buy packages online, like design packages. Because I was like, at the point, I was like, with these business plans, I have to be different. I have to bring some sort of design and to make it like it should look good. But I said, look, I'm going to invest in it. I don't have money. I asked my dad to lend me some money. Okay. And I bought a template online. And I used that template for a couple of slides. I made more money. And then, and I didn't have a laptop at the time. So when I started, I asked my best friend at the time, and I asked him to lend me his laptop to do this business plan for the client. And I needed it for 3 weeks. Ended up with me for 3 months.
Wait, you needed the laptop for?
Yeah, I didn't have a laptop to work.
You needed it for like 3 weeks only.
Exactly. But then it ended up with me for 3 months. Wow. What I did, I gave him a deal. I was like, he wanted to start a business. I was like, I'm going to develop your brand identity and your strategy for you. Yeah. And I'll laptop to work with for you. Smart. Exactly. So I did it, and after 3 months, I got this first gig, and I got some money from there, and I bought my own laptop. Exactly. Then I started picking up the pieces from there. So I mean, that's where my real journey actually started. Like now, when I look back, I realized that I was being molded. It was the start of this kind of person that I've become and still becoming, right? Because there was a huge switch from my mindset from the bank, you know. And actually, to be honest, if I wasn't fired from the bank, I promise you, I will still be there right now.
Well, what lesson did you learn from that?
I learned that I can be strong if I let myself be strong.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I thought that was going to break me. I knew that if I lost this job, you know, I love the job. Yeah. Like, you know, I love to see people help people. I learned a lot in the bank, like, you know. And also one lesson I picked is that wherever you find yourself, if you're building a career, there's this thing that people sometimes say, oh, that's not my job. Yeah. Oh, maybe, oh, David, help me do this. Oh, that I'm not supposed to do. I'm not being paid to do that. Look, when you're building your career, when you're building your, it's like a trajectory that you're designing for your life, right? Yeah. It's how you design it. Whatever element that happens in there, it's yours. You own it, right? So even though as a bulk teller, I knew how to do the normal bank tellering. I was doing funds transfer. I was doing the ATM. I was fixing the ATM machine if it broke down, right? I was opening accounts. So when
another job of a mechanic.
Exactly. I did everything. I learned everything. I was just curious about everything. So when someone is not at work, like, no worries, Derrick is there, right? But when I'm not there, oh God, Derrick is not here, right?
It's
but
challenge.
It was I picked it up with me, and I'll tell you later in our conversation how that lesson that I picked from doing that helped me in my career in Germany, right? So yeah, then from there I started my company. And then it was tough, really tough. Like I think for a year, I was not making money. I was like all over the place, like helping people, like people that knew me. Oh, Derrick, help me with the proposal, help me with this and that and that and that. But then how was I going to get money from it?
Yeah.
Right. And there were times that there was one time that I got this client that had me to travel to Dubai. This was in 2016.
Yeah.
To pitch for a certain deal for him. Right.
Mhm.
I worked on everything. I went to Dubai. It was a terrible trip that I had. Like,
Dubai?
Yes, Dubai. Like, look at this young guy, like going to Dubai to go to pitch for a client. I was there for a week, right? And I got back and obviously, like, I needed money. I needed to monetize this thing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
There are clients that I worked for that couldn't pay me and stuff. And then this one time I felt like, oh, maybe Accra is too saturated. Let me go to the north. I just wake up.
Yeah.
And I booked a bus ticket, 13 hours, went to the north. I didn't know anyone.
Wow.
And then I go to the north, got a guest house, dropped my bag, got a motor bike, sat on it to take me to the town. And I went to the companies any company I saw, I just went there with my bag and my small self.
Yeah.
Like, hi, my name is Derrick. I'm from Accra. I do business consulting. We do this and that and that and that and that and that. And I'll be happy to render services to you and stuff. And I pitched to different companies. And I remember this one lesson I picked from that. Be honest. Don't lie. Look, I went with this client. They manufactured shea butter, right?
Wow.
And then it would have been a good deal for me.
Yeah.
So I go there and then the man asks me, oh, where is your office located? And because I didn't want to look like, I'm an office.
Like a nobody.
Exactly. Like, oh, we don't disclose the location of our
Wow.
and that. And it was like,
You answered that?
I answered that. And then it was like, my brother, just say you don't have a boss.
Wow.
Just be honest. I felt it wouldn't be because of you.
Yeah.
Right. And even though in the end, I did not get the client. There was one client that I got from that trip, just one. And trust me, right now, he's one of the big companies that they've expanded to Accra. Now, when it comes to our services, he doesn't even ask for a quote. He sends me an email, Derrick, do your magic. After sending an invoice, that's all, right?
Yeah.
So it was worth it. I did the same thing in Accra. I remember I entered companies that were looking at me like, who's this boy? Right? That kind of look. It was very discouraging, right? But I had to do it and build this thing. Like I literally put my company on my head. So I did real out of social media work with it, right? And so generally that is how the journey started for me. And then fast forward, I found myself going to pursue my studies in Germany. I think we're going to delve more into that later on. But I mean, for those who may also wonder what I actually do.
Exactly. Now people can be asking, okay, so now who is this guy here sharing with us about his story? So Derrick, please do justice to our listeners out there, our viewers. Tell us now, what are you now? What are you doing? What are you into? And maybe talk about what you've worked on, your recent projects, positions, companies that you've worked on, and how did you get there?
Okay, cool. So I professionally, I'm a communication specialist, right? So I do corporate communications, I do social media planning, I do IT communications as well. And I just finished my master's in web and data science in Germany, University of Koblenz. I also work with the University of Koblenz, right? So previously, when I moved to Germany, I was studying a master in journal management, and I did international marketing in there, and I picked up the interest to do more marketing and communications. So I was working with a company there as a marketing associate student worker, right? And I was doing like creating content in German, everything. If I say content, I mean everything from pictures to videos to text to copies, everything, newsletters, everything, right? And then from there, I did some work with an organization in London as well. And then from there, I also moved to University of Koblenz to do communications on a project that is funded by the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Action, which is called South Africa, and then key corporates also, which runs now in Rwanda, Ghana, Tanzania. So I lead communications for this project, but also prior to that, I did communications with Mercedes-Benz Mobility Germany. So
What? Wait. You say Mercedes Benz?
Yes, Mercedes.
Hey, now take us through
So
that,
it was one of the
that experience.
it was one of the boxes I wanted to tick on my to-do list. I remember it was sometime yeah, but I always wanted to work with such a brand. Like I wanted to put myself on that level to experience it, right? And because for me as a strategist as well. So I'll come back to the strategy aspect of my life. I mean my consulting career as well.
Yeah.
Right. But I just wanted to go to this place to see what's in there and to learn, right, as well. So I got in there. I applied. Obviously, it's one of the most difficult places to get in Germany. Everybody's
come on. Yeah.
It was my first time applying, and then I got the email. I got an interview. It was a great interview. Passport, processes, German bureaucracy, yada yada yada, and then I got hired. So I was doing corporate communications and social media planning plus CEO communications.
Ooh,
so
guys,
yeah,
we're talking about Mercedes Benz, guys. They're a whole such of a company. Like that's massive.
Yeah, it was a great experience.
Yeah, and I guess that was like the biggest highlight.
It was a big highlight for me because
in your career.
Yes, in my career, because it was a challenge to me, and it was an inspiration to people that look like me in such a place like Germany.
Yeah,
right. So people believe that it's possible to get in places like that. Like if you want to work in some of the big companies in the world, you can do it, right? But what does it take? Because when I went to Mercedes-Benz, from the first day that I got my work laptops and work materials, I mean a lot of emails. I told you the other time. How do your first day? There are lots of emails. There are meetings to catch up with. I mean, they're hiring the best people. So if you're not really good, you quit. Like it was like that. Like you have to be flat out so good. And there's something that I listened to in one of Oprah's interviews. Yeah. And she said something that you have to focus on being so good that they can't cancel you. Like people will remember you. They mention your name in like meetings that this guy is good. Like you will be known for that. And for me, all the experiences that I picked up during my time in Germany, where I put it together, and I wanted to not work as because I was technically still a student.
Yeah.
So, but one thing is that I don't like to work like a student, right? I don't like to work thinking like I work like I'm a professional. Yeah. Right. This is a job. It's a contract. Yeah. So I have to deliver. Right. So I was doing CEO communication, for example. So coming up with captions and content for the CEO of Mercedes Mobility, right? So when it goes somewhere, something happens, like come up with things as though like he wrote and stuff, and coming up with like concepts for there's a talk show that I helped create for the CEO as well. It's called Talking Changes, Taking Chances. Wow. It's currently running, right? But it's one of the things that I was part of, and these are things in my CV, so I can talk about it. Yeah. So it was I did a lot of work. I remember when I was leaving Mercedes-Benz, my colleagues did very lovely cards for me, and they worked very interesting things. And I had some of the best campaigns, that were run at Mobility. So it was a great experience, and I picked it up, continued with my job in Union of Commerce, and I moved on to other places as well. But generally, so I'm doing communications, and then on the other hand, I already run a company in Ghana called Platinum Africa Solutions Limited. So we are helping businesses to enter various markets in Africa, right, in the most professional way, the most sustainable way. Thinking of profit, people, management, thinking of strategy, and stuff. And also I have some clients in Germany, like diaspora clients who come for business plans, for funding, for like moving on to next levels, phases in their business and stuff. So basically strategic consultant. Right. So that's what my company does in Ghana. So on one phase I'm doing communications, on another phase I'm doing consulting. So and I also do on the other hand, like project management for Erasmus plus projects. These are projects funded by the European Union with some organizations in Europe as well. So I get hired as a project consultant, to manage some projects here and there.
Great, man. So Derrick, I know you've passed through a lot of experiences, and each time we talk, we always have a very good conversation, right? And I've always wished that you share some of these nudges to a larger audience. So now let's dive into like the main lessons that you've learned. And of course, if you were to look back 10 years from now, maybe it would be a little bit of hard for you to believe or to know that you were going to be where you are today, right? So for someone also who is here in Africa, wherever they are, maybe they don't even know where to start from, right? What should you say to them? And how can one go about also focusing on their career, and also maybe they're starting to build something, because these days, many people, they're trying to do these two things, right? They're in school, they're trying to build their careers.
Yeah.
At the same time, they have side hustles which eventually turn into businesses.
Yes.
You are someone who has done that.
Yep.
Who's still doing that? Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, a disclaimer: I have not seen it all. So, because there are some people that watch these conversations or listen to these podcasts with a certain judgmental mind. If you're one, please drop it. Drop it. I'm giving you 5 seconds to drop it before I continue.
Sure.
But watch these things with an open mind.
Yeah.
Pick what you can pick and feed yourself with.
Yeah.
And that will lead me to my first point. I think in all your knowing, know yourself. It's very important that you understand that the most important project you would ever work on is you. Everything is you, right? Everything is you. Look, I've worked with different people. I've met so many people in different countries, right? And it always boils down to one thing: you. If you want to really, like, for me, I'm someone that challenges myself, right? I always try to give myself a challenge to be better. So I don't compete with anyone, neither do I compete with myself. No, I'm very kind with how I grow and my growth process. But my main focus is I want to be better, because the world deserves better people. And if I'm going to be here and to do great things, I gotta be great myself, right? So the moment my life changed was when I realized that I was the most important project in this entire show. So I think life it's a live show.
Right? Yeah.
And there's no rehearsal. That's the one thing about life. This is the life.
I like that.
Yeah, this is not a rehearsal.
No trial.
It's running. 3, 2, 1. Action is rolling, right? So I gotta give a great show. But first of all, I have to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
And then others can enjoy it. So for young people, I'm still young, but obviously I've come to the 3rd level. So I'm on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for other young people, and even for other people, wherever you are, I mean, we never stop learning.
Yeah.
Keep working on yourself. Look at your skill set. What can you really do, right? Also, one thing you should work on is your mind. Your even as at now, scientists cannot understand the brain. It's it's the most complicated part of our human body.
Yeah.
But then one thing is the mind. What are you feeding your mind? What's in your head? What do you think about yourself? Right? We've come from an era where it was nice to have like a pity party in your head. Oh, I come from a bad background. I'm not from a rich home, so people should be kind to me. People should give me opportunities because I'm a woman. For people who are in women empowerment, I'm like chopping the woman narrative. But then you see, life will not give you what you think you deserve.
Yeah.
Life will give you what you're able to fight consistently for, right? And it will also sometimes give you what you can really see. So, you cannot feature in a future you cannot picture, right? So what's happening in my head?
Did you get that, guys?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it starts from there.
Yeah.
Look, every single thing I have, I had a picture of it. Even the phone I like to use, even the way I dress, even the devices I have in my home, the way my home is set up and everything. I had pictures of it. Like, that was my dream. That's what I was seeing for myself, right? And it's what pushed me to fight for this. So work on yourself, work on your mind, work on your heart. I say that because most of our people are not kind to themselves. That's why we have many unkind people, because you cannot give what you don't have, right? So if you are not even kind to yourself in your growth process to understand that, look, I'm just young, I'm in my 20s, relax, chill. Take your time and work on what's important. Work on yourself first, right? So work on your mind, your skill set, work on where you want to head to, even though it could change as life happens, right? But then at least have a picture of what exactly it is like you want to have. Like, design the kind of life you like, right? What kind of car do you like to drive in? What kind of place do you even want to eat from? What kind of cups do you want to drink from? What kind of bed sheet do you want to have in your bed? What kind of curtains do you want to have in your room? Right? Have the picture of what it looks like for you. So know yourself very well. Be self-aware, right? So when you know yourself very well, you understand what you deserve, right? And for me, even this goes on to even relationships. Like, if you don't even know the kind of love you give yourself, how would you even know the kind of love you like or you deserve?
Yeah.
Like, these are conversations that people need to have, right? So that's one thing.
Why does it seem to be a challenging thing to know thyself?
Because so many things are happening around us. So we get easily distracted. Everybody's saying something. Open TikTok. thousand things, million things are there, right? Everybody is saying something. Everybody's trying to push something on someone. And that's one of the traits about we as Africans that I've had a problem with. For example, if I don't like soccer, being a man, then some folks would think, why don't you like soccer? Right? Maybe I like a different thing. Exactly. Right? So we come from an environment where our parents have had to make the decisions for us. And that's what then I would say. I know my dad would definitely want it.
Sure.
If I had listened to my dad or my parents, they loved me, right? Every advice that they want or whatever part my dad wanted from me, obviously it was out of love, right? And he wants a better future for me. But if I listened to my father all the time, I would not be where I am today. I would be very unhappy and I wouldn't be successful. I won't say, well, success is relative, right? But at least I've achieved some successes in my life.
Yeah.
But I would not have achieved it if I was listening to my dad all the time.
Yeah.
Right. From the courses I wanted to read to the things, my career choice and stuff. These are things that I decided for myself and I went in for it. And sometimes I had to lie to him, right? That I went in for what he proposed, but I knew what I wanted for myself and I had to give my instinct a chance. So the reason why people don't get that easily is everybody's saying something. So now the question is, what are you telling yourself? What do you really want?
Yeah.
Right? Because you are the main character here.
Yeah.
So what is life like for you? What do you want to see that for your life? Right. So that's why it's difficult. But then the moment you get to realize that this is your show,
yeah,
and then you need to learn as much as you can and also fail as fast as you can. Right. Especially if you're young, it's a great time to fail. Right. Because you learn more in failure than actually in success. Because success is like, you celebrate more when you're successful. You wouldn't pick lessons from being successful.
I mean, people are scared of failing.
Yeah, people are scared of failing because of our society, our environment. So a lot of people are living for the environment, for the society, not for themselves, right? So what do you really want in life? Are you really studying what you really are passionate about? Are you doing the job that you really love? Yeah, and I know people will come up with excuses. It's not easy to get a job in Africa and all of those things and all of that. But yeah, people are still doing it. People are doing something they love.
People are still getting jobs.
Exactly. I mean, people are still getting the opportunities. So the question is, when you feel like you're not getting it, ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? And how can I do better? Right. So that's what I will answer to that. And on obviously, people are not taking responsibility for how their life should turn out. Because it's so nice to blame things on people. Oh, it's because my dad didn't take care of me. It's because my mom was never around. It's because I come from a broken home. So it's nice to blame people for how things happen in your life. But the question is, look, you see, whether or not you turn out to be successful, people don't really care. And life will still be life. Life will still be happening with or without you in the show, right? It still keep happening. So do things that you really want to do, and most important, know yourself. I think it's the most important thing, because now people are young people in uni, or for example uni, they are spending more time, there's more time in I meet this girl, I want to know you, I want to know you for